guys, there is this lady called Bisola F. And there is another young man called Sani Emmanuel. Of course, that name sounds familiar. Both of the names sounds familiar. But then if you're a football lover, you will know who Sani Emmanuel is. A former Nigerian footballer starlet whose recent social media plea for help to fund an operation for his career-threatening injury made headlines. He has revealed a stunning plot, according to him, against Prophet TB Joshua, and they claim that this is coming from some big men of God. Sometimes you wonder who is actually a man of God and who is not a man of God. But for me, everyone is a man of God. But in that light of clerics, they might call some people man of God and some people maybe men of the devil. I wouldn't know what it is anyway. It is still the same TB Joshua's church that claimed that some terrorists came with some aircraft, somehow something happened and the whole of the building came down and more than 200-300 people died at once. People claim that this is a blood sacrifice. That if you are a prophet and if you are with God, there is no way God will allow people to die in your church that will lose their life. What is that, for salvation or not? But now that is the opinion of people. I want to know what really went down there. I don't know. So this Nigerian footballer Sani Emmanuel, he claimed that he revealed that he received a phone call from a woman named Bisola Johnson F. I'm here to confirm if Bisola said I am the one that called, or it's just one of those story or something like that. I wouldn't know, because this young man Sani is someone that TB Joshua most of the time showcases. What I observed is this. I'm not saying it is bad or not, but I observed that TB Joshua likes to associate with certain people. He likes to put them on camera. That's what I've noticed. He likes to put certain people on camera, like football stars, movie actors. If the church is filled with a lot of people, yes, deliverance will happen. Like the case of Jim Hike. Somehow it's like the anointing from the prophet touched, one of the wise men touched the head of Jim Hike. And Jim Hike later said, the reason I went to the church is for my mom's health. My sister asked us to go there, and I said, there's something I cannot do for my mom. But when I got there, my mom died later of the same sickness, but I was used as a spectacle. You saw what happened. If you've not seen that video, it was all over the place trying to be delivered. And the deliverance is to make his life better. I don't know if his life is better as Jim Mike. I don't know. So I don't know much about that. But he granted an interview as regards that. He said he took the birth of his child for him to forgive TB Joshua and whatever it is that happened right there. So that story is for another day. And several stories of people coming out to say this happened, this did not happen. And even the Bisola F. I was opportune to read the book she wrote, and also I was able to track one or two informations that she's actually giving out there. Although, but these things are very they are not things that you can actually see totally into. Only God sees much of all those things. So Emmanuel, like I said, if Emmanuel is TB Joshua's boy, is one of the people that claim that he's going to be mentoring Sani, Emmanuel, and the rest of those footballers. Most of the time you find them in his church. How come this young man is asking for money? Well, one footballer gave him 1.5 million, I think, for him to deal with the Achilles, I think, is it Achilles tendonitis or something like that. He has an injury anyway, right there on his ankle at the back, something like that. So I wouldn't know why TB Joshua did not give him money, or why he himself never had enough money, or maybe he has been spending money, he doesn't have much. I don't know what this is all about. So this young man, he claimed he received a phone call from Bisola Johnson, and that they spoke for over 2 hours, and that Bisola Johnson promised him substantive financial assistance benefit if he agreed to testify against TB Joshua. So that means, we have to be smart when we read things and when we kind of look into things. Testifying against someone, testifying against him. Is it that the guy should come up with a story, or he should testify based on certain informations that he himself is privy to? That we will soon find out. She spoke on a relationship with some big men of God. He asserted, adding they would assist him to raise up to 10 million naira for the surgery and the condition, and as long as he would reveal TB Joshua use a star for a ritual. That is what it is. You know, the lady Epsiba said everybody that goes to that church, particularly stars, after they go to the church and they meet with TB Joshua, after a while they say their star goes down. That's the story. They say something will happen to them, and like the case of Kanu went to the church and he was prayed for in the hope that he has received healing. We know that most of the time these pastors, prophets, they say God is the healer. They have to just do their own bit and have faith that you are healed. You might be healed and you might not be healed. Forget the old story that you see on TV. Yes, there are times that maybe some of them have some spiritual forces that help them to kind of package a thing. Of course, you know, DBS, marabouts, and all of this, they have some form of forces they use in doing whatever they do. So it's possible. And also prophets of God can also pray for you. God can decide to honor the healing immediately or later, or I don't know, something. It happens anyway. So the young man has issues with his injury, and he claimed that this woman called and said, TB Joshua, if you can testify that your star was used. She said, I had to change the name Emmanuel as the name is cursed. Sani continued, revealing Johnson tried repeatedly to convince me that TB Joshua is not a real man of God. And I think Bisola FC Bar is if you're someone that has listened to TB Joshua's messages and all of those videos, you would hear the voice of that lady, because I tracked it and I listened and I realized that yes, it is a voice. So simply put, that lady is very, very, very close to the dealings and things that are happening in that TB Joshua's church back in those days when she was there. She is seriously involved. That's what I'm saying. And there's no way she's not going to see one or two things. Of course, you know, a lot of things happen in closed doors. I wouldn't know much more about that, because what you don't know, you don't know. Emmanuel provided evidence by uploading an audio recording of one of his conversations with Johnson Efsiba onto SoundCloud, where she can be heard coaching him on how to respond if asked about his injury and TB Joshua's role in not alleviating it. Sani rise to football relevance during the 2009 Under-17 World Cup, where he won the coveted golden boot. I think he won the golden ball. Okay, as the tournament's best player, was well connected to TB Joshua. That's the story. The young footballer played for My People FC, the grassroots football academy funded by TB Joshua, revealing in interviews then that he worked as an altar boy in the synagogue Church of All Nations, SCOAN, before Sani and his teammate Ogenyi Onazi were selected to represent the Golden Eagles. TB Joshua also sponsored their trip to Sweden to play for a lower tier team. Clearly miffed at Johnson's smear campaign against the cleric and our attempts to embroil him in it, Emmanuel stated that he grew up in the synagogue and described TB Joshua as the best dad in the world. If not for TB Joshua, he said, I would have ended up playing in the streets football at a village called Asopada in Abuja. The footballer continued, adding, he raised me from nobody to somebody. Sani also revealed that his social media plea for help led to probing questions from people familiar with his connection to TB Joshua. That's what I'm talking about. He said, I have received calls and messages from people asking why couldn't the man of God, the father and the best father of all, help you or heal you? Because it's very important that I will look at certain things. If Daddy Gio or Father in the Lord or Prophet TB Joshua could not heal him of that injury, it's because you see a lot of these things on TV. These things are on TV. He has professional cameramen. He has, voiceover professionals from UK. He has everything. Everything is in place. If you watch the way, there is no church in Nigeria that I know of that has coordination, better video packaging, and the all of those things that you see than that TB Joshua's church. There is no one. So he has a professional that does the job. Forget about his lack of education. I mean proper education or more higher education. Let me say higher. Not that he's not educated. Higher education. He knows who to put in the right position. That is just what it is. So he said that TB Joshua did not heal him. From what we know, TB Joshua did not heal him, and people are asking, why didn't TB Joshua heal you or even give you money if he's the father of all, father to you? So he said he has received calls. He stated, explained that TB Joshua is just like you and I, but simply being used by God. That is what he said. That is just like any other person, but it's used by God. So God maybe is not using him now to heal him or to give him money. Days earlier, Emmanuel revealed in an Instagram post that his former teammate Onazi had paid $1.4 million, that's $4,000, to enable him to undergo surgery for Achilles tendonitis. That's what which had plagued him since the onset of his career. After his breakout performance at the FIFA Under-17 World Cup, Emmanuel had trials with Chelsea and Tottenham before a brief stint at Italian side Lazio, but persistent injuries hampered him from making any mark. So he only positioned himself under 17. Afterwards, he never shined. That is just what it is. Sani revelation is not the first time prominent clerics have been implicated in efforts to publicly discredit TB Joshua. Earlier this year, a video on Emmanuel TV YouTube channel chronicled the confession of an ex-militant named James, who admitted he was paid huge amounts by a Nigerian pastor to lie against TB Joshua and malign his ministry in a public crusade. But the truth of the matter is that we never see any audio recordings or even the names of the pastor or prophet or whatever. We just hear these things. And Bisola Johnson FCBA said when she worked there that they had a way that they normally coach testimony, people that give testimony. If you go to TV, watch TB Joshua's testimony and all of those things, there are times that, you see that they have a pattern. Of course, all churches have a pattern anyway. So she said they normally coach people, that people that refuse, they will not put them there. Watch out. Most of these churches now, and of course TB Joshua's church, people are never given the microphone because they don't want you to utter anything. The microphone is kind of like a kind of like a snap and take, snap and hold, stuff like that. So you cannot just speak anyhow. That's just one of the things. And many of the times when you listen to all these churches, the demons is either focusing on how powerful the prophet is, how great, while the prophet, the demon sometimes will say the other church is full of that one is a false prophet. But when you listen again, the demon in that church is saying that the other prophet is a liar. We don't know who is a liar or not. But then that is not important. If you know your God, know who your God is. So Bisola Johnson, who worked in Scorn for several years before turning against the former boss, as they might use the word, but she claimed that she had to get herself delivered because of heinous endemic activities that were going on underneath the church, in that church, synagogue church of all nations. So there are videos, like she called it, she said it's a confession, and that in this confession you are asked to say certain things. And she later explained about that. That is, I'm not rooting for her. I don't know what happened. It is between her and God and the man himself. But what she said is that confession, the first time she came there to the church and all of those challenges of life, she said they were coached on what to say so that God can help them. And secondly, she said the second confession that she was seen on the floor was as a result of the spiritual forces that TB Joshua, channeled towards her, that she was roaming around the street of Lagos without knowing where she was, dirty, for almost 3 days or 2 days or something thereabout. And that she had to return, that when she returned, that she was told, confess, because you don't know what they tell them behind the camera, confess or die. That she had to say everything so that she can be put back, because she realized that there is certain forces that, yes, they used to do some fake packaging, but then there is also certain forces that is being used by the same prophet, that there are sometimes he knows certain things, that she started questioning herself like, wait, is this God? How can God lie? How can God, Holy Spirit lie? And all those confusion. And moreover, she said she is from a background that is not so much of a born again. She doesn't understand the Bible. So many of them do not understand Bible. They are not allowed to. So and many people came up. Yes, it is possible that when you're on top, you become a topic. It's possible that when you're on top, you always have people that will always say things against you. That is possible. All of this is possible. That's why I say I do not know. I don't have much evidences. But then there are certain things that I know. And what I know is that miracles performed by any person, let's assume performed by a pastor or a prophet, is just a conduit. You might get a miracle, you might not get a miracle. That is why in a church of 1,000 people, you only see probably 5 people giving testimony. What happened to the rest of the people? Lack of faith, sin. It's a mystery. So I'm going to leave you guys at this. If you're not a member of this channel, simply tap on the subscription button and the red notification icon bell. That will automatically make you a member of this channel. And I will leave you with this. Always ask questions. Don't be gullible. Thanks for stopping.